Hello guys, welcome back to another Division 2 build video. So I've noticed a lot of new and returning players, mainly newer players, struggle with heroic or higher difficulty content. And although this is normal, you're still learning the game and figuring out what builds work best with your playstyle and whatnot. But still, it can be extremely frustrating constantly getting down by heroic difficulty NPCs, especially as a solo player, right? Because sometimes the NPCs are out of pocket. So in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing and breaking down 3 viable DPS builds with great survivability that can help you clear higher difficulty content a lot easier. These builds work great and they are ideal for solo players. You should find it easier to clear higher difficulty content like heroic or legendary because of the decent amount of armor regeneration. Like in this clip right here, I was so close to going down, but thankfully with all the armor regen, I managed to stay alive. So anyway guys, without further ado, slash the like button and let's get started. So this first build uses one of the strongest exotic assault rifles in the game. The Capacitor is brutal, and it has an extremely high base damage compared to the other weapons in its category. Not only that, but with the Capacitor's weapon talent, you will also get a bonus weapon damage increase depending on how many skill tiers you have. And with the addition of the Memento exotic backpack, survivability becomes a beneficial factor. This build also has 3 skill tiers, so I decided to run the Restore Heal Hive for the additional survivability. This is a very fun build to use, and it's fairly easy to set up since it's mainly high-end brand set pieces, aside from the Memento backpack. So for one, you're getting a great amount of weapon damage bonuses from the brand set pieces, and the Capacitor adds even more with the bonus weapon damage coming from the Capacitance talent. Plus, you're getting even more weapon damage from the Memento backpack and armor regeneration as well. For the primary weapon, the Capacitor exotic assault rifle comes with an amazing weapon talent. So with the talent Capacitance, shooting enemies will build stacks to a cap of 40, and each stack will give you a 1.5% skill damage bonus. Now this is great for skill builds or hybrid skill builds, but what we really want is the benefits of this second part. So for each skill tier, you will gain 7.5% weapon damage. So this is great because I get a 22.5% increased weapon damage bonus since I have 3 skill tiers with this setup. Now for the mask, a Walker Harris mask with armor core, both critical hit damage and chance with a critical hit damage mod. And for the vest, a Fenris Group AB chest piece for the 10% assault rifle damage, rolled with armor core and crits with a critical hit chance mod, and the talent Obliterate rolled for the extra 20% weapon damage. For those who don't know, with the talent Obliterate, critical hits will increase your total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, capping at 20. So at full stacks, you have a nicely added 20% increased weapon damage. For the holster, a Picaro's holster with armor core, critical hit damage, and since this is a named gear piece, I get an extra 10% weapon damage attribute. This always comes with the Picaro's holster. And for the knee pads, the second piece of Walker Harris, rolled with armor and crits. And since I have 2 pieces, I get both the 5% weapon damage and damage to armor stat bonuses. For the gloves, a Brazos piece with armor and crits. And for the backpack, the exotic Memento bag, which comes with all 3 core attributes. So weapon damage, armor, and skill tier with a critical hit damage mod. Many of you already know how this backpack works, but just real quick for those who are new, this backpack is a great way to add survivability, weapon damage, and some extra skill efficiency to your build. And it does this by providing you with both a short and long-term buff. So enemies that you eliminate will drop a trophy, and the trophies look like this. So as you collect these trophies, you will be getting both a short and long-term buff. Now, the short-term buff will scale to the number of core attributes that you have equipped. So for example, since I have 5 armor core attributes, well 6 actually because you get 1 from the Memento bag, I get 60% bonus armor from the short-term buff for 10 seconds. Because if you look over here, this is how much bonus you get for each of the corresponding core attributes that you have. So I also get 5% weapon damage and skill efficiency for 10 seconds. Now, on the other hand, you're also stacking up and getting the benefits from the long-term buff as well, and this buff lasts for 5 minutes, plus the timer can be refreshed by collecting more trophies. but the long-term buff caps at 30 stacks, ultimately providing 30% weapon damage, skill efficiency, and 3% armor regeneration at full stacks. Now, although the Memento bag is super viable, you can also try a named Liquid Engineer backpack as an alternative. This named Bellstone bag comes with the Talent Perfect Bloodsucker, which grants 12% bonus armor for each enemy you eliminate and stacks up to 10 times with a 10-second cooldown. Duration, I meant not cooldown, sorry. So there is no cooldown for this talent, so you can keep refreshing it after every kill with a 10-second duration. So this will add survivability and is similar to the Memento bag, minus the weapon damage and skill efficiency increase, right? As well as the armor regeneration. So the Memento bag is still the better option. Now, I know some of you may be wondering where I'm getting the other 2 skill tiers from, because remember, I get one from the Memento bag, right? But I also get one from the 2-piece Brazo set bonus, and the 3rd from the Technician weapon skill tree. And that's another thing, this setup has somewhat decent healing as well, not only because of having 3 skill tiers, but also for the enhanced diagnostics passive talent from the Technician skill tree, which adds 10% healing. So that's why I'm running the Restore Hive with this setup, right? But honestly, feel free to use whatever skill you prefer as your secondary. However, for the primary skill, I highly recommend running the Ballistic Crusader shield because it's great on its own, but it's even better with the seasonal modifiers. And for the global modifiers, Tactical Supremacy, Critical Recovery, Reactive Reinforcement, and Fortified Shield. Okay guys, this next build has a bit more survivability than the previous, and for this setup, I'm using the Chameleon Exotic Assault Rifle. This weapon also has an amazing talent that provides 3 different buffs, 2 of which provide benefits for DPS. Now this is the build that I was using in the first part of the intro gameplay, in case anyone's wondering, and it actually holds up very well in legendary strongholds, so it will definitely hold up well for heroic content. So this build also has a fairly decent amount of damage and uses the full power of the Foundry Bulwark gear set, which is designed for a tank, but with the way I have it set up, the damage is there as well. I'm also using the Memento bag with this setup, and although it's not really required, it's still a super viable piece. So for the primary weapon, the Chameleon offers 3 buffs with its Adaptive Instincts talent. So by landing 30 headshots, you will get a 20% critical hit chance and 50% critical hit damage increase for 45 seconds. And for landing 65 body shots, you get a 90% weapon damage increase for 45 seconds. Then for landing 20 leg shots, you get a 150% reload speed bonus for 45 seconds. For the mask, a Foundry Bulwark piece with armor, crit hit damage, and a critical hit damage mod. And for the vest, a Fenris Group AB chest piece, same as from the previous build, rolled with armor and crits, and a critical hit damage mod. And Obliterate for the extra damage. And for the holster, a second piece of Foundry with armor and critical hit chance, then a third piece with armor and critical hit damage, and the 4th piece with armor and critical hit chance. And last but not least, the Memento Exotic Backpack with a critical hit damage mod. Now, many of you already know how the Foundry gear set works, right? It's basically a gear set that helps with survivability. So, for having 4 pieces, you get 10% total armor and 1% armor regeneration, as well as 50% shield health. Then you also get the makeshift repairs talent that will basically heal you and your shield by 25% of the amount of damage taken by your shield, and having the reactive reinforcement passive modifiers amplifies this effect, because it actually heals 5% of your maximum armor when your shield takes damage, so that helps out even more with survivability. Also, I forgot to mention this, but you get that healing from the makeshift repairs talent over a 10-second time span. So I'm using Tactical Supremacy, Critical Recovery, Reactive Reinforcement, and Fortified Shield for the seasonal modifiers. So again, like the previous setup, the Ballistic Crusader Shield for my primary skill, which is what I'd recommend, and the Reviver Hive for the secondary in case you go down if you're solo. But sometimes I like to switch to the decoy to take some of, the aggro from the NPCs off of me, but feel free to use whatever skill floats your boat, okay? For the stats, in case anyone's curious, 43% critical hit chance and 117% critical hit damage on the Chameleon. And I went with the Gunner specialization for the armor on kill bonus. Okay guys, so with this next build setup, you're gonna find the survivability to be a lot better, because there's already a lot of armor regeneration with this setup. Plus, with the long-term buff coming from the Memento bag, you get an additional 3% armor regen. So, similar to the previous two setups, I'm using the Memento exotic bag with this build as well, but this is an all-brand set build, except for the Memento bag, obviously, right? Now, this is actually an improved version of an armor regen build I made from a previous video. So, if any of you've seen that video, it's the third build in that video that I'm referring to, but you should find this version a lot better. So for the primary weapon, I'm using the Lexington Assault Rifle with the Talent Killer at the moment, and the Talent Killer adds 70% critical hit damage after eliminating an enemy for 10 seconds. This talent works out great with this setup because the critical hit damage is already decent, right? So with the Killer talent active, the critical hit damage goes from 130 to 200%, and the great thing about it is I get to keep that buff active for the most part, since it has no cooldown and the timer refreshes after every kill. The devs are actually bringing the Lexington back, so if you missed the first wave, don't worry. But the St. Elmo's engine is a great alternative in the meantime, because it comes with mods that provide some critical hit chance and damage. Plus, it also has excellent crowd control since you get a full clip of shock rounds after reloading from landing 100 shots. You can also use the Chameleon as well. The Chameleon is very nice with this setup because remember, you get a 90% weapon damage buff as well as a critical hit increase. But if you're looking for something similar to the Lexington, you can go with either the Police M4, Carbine 7, or F2000 and just roll the Talent Killer on it. Now, for the gear pieces, I'm running a full Gila Guard set for the 5% total armor and 2% armor regen for having 3 pieces, right? And this is the named Chill Out mask, which comes with an extra mod slot, but a regular Gila Guard mask works fine as well. So for the mask, I have critical hit chance and 2 critical hit damage mods. Then for the holster and knee pads, armor regen with critical hit chance and damage. Now for the vest and gloves, 2 pieces of the Golan brand set for the armor regen. I also get a 10% status effect bonus, so if you're using the St. Elmo's engine, that can help prolong the shock round status effect for a bit. Also, just a quick tip, if your watch level is under 1000 and you still haven't gotten all of your critical hit stat bonuses, then you can roll more crits here instead of armor regen to make up for it. So you can just roll critical hit damage on this holster instead of armor regen. Same for the knee pads, right? You can roll more critical hit chance, whatever you need to have similar stats to mine. Now for the primary skill, I'm using the Striker Ballistic Shield, which is the variant that you can only get from the Firewall Weapon Specialization tree. This variant is a lot better than the default Crusader Shield because it provides a damage boost based on the number of enemies in front of your shield, and you can actually see the damage percent that you get per enemy under the skill stats. So you can see that I get a nice 13% damage bonus per enemy. Now on top of that, your shield tier will also increase with both blue and yellow core attributes. So if you take a look at the skill tier stats, these are the percentages of the bonus attributes I get for having 6 blues and 1 yellow. And just in case you're wondering, that yellow core is coming from the Memento bag. Also, with the addition of these 2 skill mods, I get an extra 6% damage per enemy. So that bumps up the damage from 13% to 19%, right? And for the secondary skill, I went with the Decoy. And for the global modifiers, same as the previous setup, so Tax Supremacy, Critical Recovery, Reactive Reinforcement, and Fortified Shield. These last 2 modifiers, Reactive Reinforcement and Fortified Shield, actually work great together with the Ballistic Shield. So yeah, that will do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy these builds. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comment section. And to all my channel members, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support because it truly means a lot to me. You guys are awesome. So stay tuned for more exclusive members only videos. I'll be covering some tips for leveling your expertise as fast as possible, but let me know what you guys would like to see more videos of as well. This is my way of showing my love and appreciation. Also, if you're a channel member, I made a video on an XP farming method that works great if you need a fast XP farm. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out if you're interested. I'll leave a link in the description. And if you're new to the channel, welcome and consider subscribing if you enjoy this type of content. Good luck farming and keep it cool, keep it classy, and see you in the next video. Peace out.